Okay, let me make sure I'm online. Okay. Hello, I'm Alex from A.P. Ink. So today I'm going to be picking up where I left off yesterday, which I was doodling various, I guess, kind of icon items to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, which is today. So I do have a series of references that I didn't get to yesterday. So I'm just picking one. And I'll give you the same reference. I should set this up before I show it to you, but we'll do it as we go. So a green top hat. Okay, so I'm not doing this with graphite pencils. I'm doing it with a dark green colored pencil. And actually I think before we get started, when I did the line art for the bagpipes, I didn't do the line art for the cord, and it's a minor detail, but I want to do that really quick. So I've got a green 05 fine liner. Okay, so minor detail, but I think it looks better like that. Okay, so getting into the top hat. So to break this into its simplest shapes, we're gonna go with a rectangle. And then kind of I mean, the brim would be a circle. a disc, but the curvature on it, it's almost lima bean shaped. But simplest shapes. So simplest shape is achieved, but we're going to round the corners on the top and the bottom. The bottom, excuse me, excuse me again. We're gonna round the bottom corners a bit more than the top. I've been fighting not to get a cold because I've been feeling like I'm on the edge of it, and I think it's finally starting to take hold. Okay, and then for the ribbon that goes around the base, I guess, of the top hat. Without actually looking into it, okay, so Abraham Lincoln had a stove pipe hat. I think that's what it was called, which is essentially a top hat, but I think maybe the this part of the hat maybe was taller than a regular top hat. I don't know. Maybe it's just another name for a top hat. Okay, the buckle. Okay, sorry. I'll be right back. Okay. So, the buckle. I think the brim needs a bit more curvature. The reference is kind of like 3/4, and I'm going for more like straight on. Okay, maybe if I bring in this, the forward brim, I guess, it'll help making the side brims look longer. I don't know. I mean, maybe I can help push the look of this more when I get into inking this, but also maybe I need to bring in the sides a bit to narrow the stovepipe part. I don't know. To actually look up the anatomy of a hat. Okay, I think we're gonna go with that. Okay, so I pulled the colors that I used yesterday for these. So the green in this are kind of like a I don't know, maybe like a bright or vibrant grass green. And I've got kind of cool greens. So it's not going to look exactly the same, but as long as it ends up looking in the ballpark. So I've got mint green light that I'm going to use for the base color. Okay. And then emerald green to shade it. Okay, so the band around the base here is black. But I think instead of going pure black, maybe just a gray. I'm not sure. What will I consider? I've got barlum yellow and melon yellow that I'm going to use on the buckle. Okay, that was barlum yellow. The melon yellow I'm going to use to try and give the shiny gold look. it's tiny, so it might not read 100%. Maybe instead of going black or like a gray, to just go for a darker green. Maybe turquoise ink blue, which I know blue, but turquoise makes it more green. It's just a blue turquoise instead of like a green turquoise. I'm just gonna touch that up. Just trying to leave room for the ribbon. Okay, so it still kind of looks black. Sorry, I've got a cough drop. I'm trying not to cough too much. Okay, so last bit. Last bit is to do the line art. And actually for that, this isn't the last bit. I've got a white gel pen I'm going to use to try to add some shine to the buckle. See, I did try to check this before I started the inking, and I could have sworn the top of my hat was flat, but clearly it wasn't. So, tiny buckle, hard to see the shiny detail. So on to the next. Again, I should probably hide my reference before changing it, but here we go anyway. Okay, I'm not sure how this is gonna go, but let's try this one next. So, at least here in America, green beer is a thing for some reason. So, maybe right here. Trying to do the glass would be kind of fun, but I feel like it would take up. I'm just trying to do little images, and to do it proper, I could probably do a whole page just for that. Okay, so simple shape. We're gonna go for a rectangle first. which I have seen um mugs, I guess. I feel like that's not quite the right label for this kind of glass, but that's what we'll go with. So a rectangle, and then to round out the top, to give dimension so you can kind of see more of the um, opening of the mug, and then towards the bottom to taper it. And then to put the handle in. So it again, at least here in America, there is, and I'm not exactly sure where this is, but there is, I think, a river that they dye green, which is uh they full on like make it a vibrant green like this liquid. But for beer that tends to be brown, I'm not sure how they dyed this. I could see if this was like Jello. I'm not gonna try for the dimples, I guess, in the glass. Okay. The foam on this looks white. I gotta sneeze. I might use Spectrum Green. I don't know. I'm not sure if there is actually any of the green coming through on the foam, or if it's just like suggested color because of how vibrant the green is compared to the foam. Apologies, I will be right back. I don't know. I might use mint blue sparingly to help tint the foam. Okay, I think I'm going to go with mint green light. I want to give the base of the mug a bit more of a buffer because maybe you can see that the thickness of the glass on the bottom. Nowhere near as vibrant. Okay, so I think most of this is just going to be line art. I think just this slightest little detail. That's way too much. I wanted to make it look like there was almost like rim lighting. Not really, though, but color from the liquid reflecting on the glass handle behind the mug. I could try and emulate these dimples on the glass with the white gel pen, but I think just random shinies, that doesn't look so good. Okay, moving on to the next. Oh, I forgot, I had two references for that mug. That's okay. Let's do a pot of gold. Now, I've got a couple of references for this. So, there's kind of a couple of different options for viewpoint. So the first one is almost at eye level. The second one, the one on the bottom there, is a bit more like above. And then okay, I'm going to do this as a separate reference, but I'll give you this one too. There's this third one that has a rainbow coming out of it. So those are the three references I found for Pot of Gold. I think I'm going to use the first one that I gave you. Okay. Just trying to decide where to put it. I'm tempted to put it here because I want to save room for a few of the bigger items over here. I mean, if I am forced to, I could always go to another page. I gotta come back to this four-leaf clover. Okay, so simplest shape. Let me sharpen this really quick. Simplest shape would be a sphere. Which I suppose this wasn't really intentional, but to have the pot of gold right next to the gold coins. Excuse me while I grab another cough drop. So, kind of funny story. Before I started streaming, I almost choked on a cough drop, so my throat is a bit scratchier than it could or should be. So it's kind of perpetuating the problem. Okay, so kind of a sphere. And then we're gonna flatten the top for the opening. Create a kind of brim. And then we'll add a couple of feet. Okay, and then so the level of gold here is kind of level with the opening of the pot of gold or the cauldron, whichever. Excuse me. But I think I might utilize the top bit of the sphere that I have here and maybe try to rough it up a little bit to make it look like it's got lots of gold piled up inside it. Doesn't matter, I'm just looking at the coins that are in this cauldron. They look like they say 1. Okay, so some of the pots of gold that I've seen have been black, but I think I'm gonna go with the reference here. So beryllium yellow and then melon yellow to shade it. To have the gold and the pot of gold blend together, though, might be a problem. So maybe terracotta and mahogany instead. So it's kind of in the same kind of color family, so to speak, only because they're colors that I've already used in this. The only thing I forgot to put in are the handles, clearly shown in the reference. Okay. And then mahogany. To give it a shine, or to leave it flat. So beryllium yellow, and then the melon yellow. that melon yellow, I don't know if I was just clumsy putting the lid back on, but the ink is getting all over. Okay, let me do the line art first. I'm not sure about giving the cauldron itself a shine. I might come back to that. But first, I will be right back. Okay. Let me check my references, because I think I'm getting down to the last few. Yep. So, think we'll do the rainbow next. Which, if you want to use the reference, if you want to do a hot of gold with a rainbow. There you go. Just trying to decide how I want to put this. So I'm gonna do a bit of almost like um an elbow, like um like pasta elbow kind of shape. This rainbow has 7 colors. I'm hearing weird noises. I don't know what that was. Actually make this make sense. Excuse me. maybe like that. Kind of looks funny, but that's my fault for how I drew it. Okay. So we've got some kind of bright, vibrant colors in the reference. The problem is all of the red tones that I have in this set, and for that, to me, it seems like all of the red tones that Ohuhu has put out, like I have more. This is just the one set that I have pulled out right now. They're kind of brown tones. Like it goes from kind of brownish reds to kind of purplish pinky reds. They don't have what I would consider an actual red tone. They're just colors with red in them. Hopefully that makes sense. But that makes it kind of hard to pick a red color. I guess vermilion, which even for that, this is like a brick red, in my opinion. Okay, we'll do this one color at a time. So, vermilion. Orange. Okay, I was gonna go for more pastel colors. Did I already say that? I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. But I don't have pastel colors here. Okay, yellow. Which I think the only technically true yellow I have here is pastel yellow. And then kind of a lemon, lime yellow. No, lemon green. I guess pale green. I had this sketched out, but I'm gonna run out of room. Maybe mint blue. So it goes from kind of a pale bright blue to a kind of grayish blue purple. Maybe sky blue. And then I'm tempted to go pastel violet, but it's kind of more lavender, but not really. I don't know. I guess pastel violet. And then for the cloud, okay, so the reference I'm going off of, the top reference, the clouds are blue, but I'm thinking to kind of pick up on the whole St. Patrick's Day vibe, to actually go with a pale green for the clouds. But I will be right back. So, prior to starting my stream today, there was an update to OBS. And unfortunately, it seems, OBS only lets me mute my mic like half the time when I go to blow my nose. I'm sorry if you guys can hear me. I'm not intentionally trying to be gross. Okay, so maybe spectrum green to do the clouds. Just trying to find the color. Okay, so I'm gonna go through and add line art. I should probably try to edit out the microphone mishaps, but I don't have the time for that before I have to upload this to YouTube. So I apologize to anybody who watches this later and has to endure my sickness. Okay, so there might barely be enough room right here for the last one. Okay, so I've got a couple of references for this. I'm not going to use this one, but I thought this one was neat, and I don't know who made it. I don't think the signature is on it, but it's almost, if you've ever seen the man evolution where it shows like the silhouette, I think silhouette of like I think an orangutan, and it goes like progression orangutan, um orangutan, I think, is the first one, or maybe a chimpanzee is the first one, and then goes to human, and then there's a series of transitions between it. To me, this is kind of reminiscent of that, only I'm not sure why they've depicted the leprechaun with kind of mermaid ears. Like, if you can see that, to me, that reads like mermaid ear. Okay, anyways, I wanted to share that. I don't think there's a signifier on it. I don't remember. Oh, actually, before I do the last one, I want to go back to the four-leaf clover, which I was trying to do that here. I want to try to leave this room open for the leprechaun, because it's probably not going to be enough room as it is. I might go here. So to start with, trying to give myself the basic shape, I guess, that the four-leaf clover takes up. Excuse me. So again, to kind of separate it out, but further than that, okay, so I'm going to use the first crosshatch for the center veining of the leaves, and then the secondary lines for where the leaves should actually be. But that the leaves themselves, I think I said this yesterday, so I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. The leaves themselves are teardrop shaped to start with, if you're going for like the basic shape, and then to kind of just turn that teardrop into a heart at the fullest end of the leaf. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But I'm trying. Okay. And it might be kind of hard to see. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. For what I can see and what you guys end up being able to see are not the same. For what I can see on the playback screen. There's like a circle kind of here. And I've seen some that have like a white or a paler green tone. This one looks like it's just a black circle, or maybe it's a brown. I'm sure there's a reason. I have no idea why. Okay. I think I'm gonna go pale green for the base color here. I know I could have tried to finish the one I started yesterday, but I didn't want to. Okay, and then to pull from the colors I've already got here. So I've got emerald green. Okay, wait. I did pale green is the base. I've got emerald green, mint green light, turquoise green. I think mint green light to shade. Actually, I think I'm going to use emerald green for that inner circle. And then it's not, to me, it doesn't look like it's just a straight circle. It looks like it's kind of jagged. So kind of like that. And then mint green light to add shadow. Okay. Green fine liner. I'm debating on putting white gel pen, which would work if this was like plastic. but maybe that's not the best idea because that's not really the look I want. Okay, last one. Okay, so leprechaun, which right here I think, because the alternative would be to start a new page. Just trying to decide how I want to pose it. I'm just using this as like, this is another thing to draw. I'm not using this as the pose. I'm tempted to draw it this way, just because there'd be a little bit more room. If I do it this way, I think I'd have to have him sitting. If I did it this way, I might have enough room to have him standing, but excuse me, I don't know if I'd really have enough room for the hat. You know, I think just to kind of stay in line with the style I've kind of landed on for the fan art that I've been doing. Oh yeah, I forgot. When I was looking at the transitional photo, this is AI. You know how you can tell? Can you see the feet, the foot? His right foot merges into his left foot on all of these. I mean, aside from here, to me it looks like his ankle is fused to his knee. There's these artifacts here, but this version has less of a right foot than this guy or this guy. Anyways, I only switched back to this one to look at the clothes. I'm not sure what I'm hearing. I keep hearing things. Okay, I wanted to end this with the leprechaun, but I have unfortunately run out of time. So that and I don't know. I haven't left myself a whole lot of room here. So maybe I'll have to do one just for a leprechaun. Again, I was hoping to finish this today, being that today is St. Patrick's Day. But if you've drawn along, you're welcome to DM me on my IG, because I'd like to see anybody else who has kind of found me, followed along with any of my doodling, whether it be like this or anything else, and if you've produced art of your own, that would be kind of neat. But yeah, other than that, thank you to anybody who watched or watches. If you'd like to draw with me again, please make sure that you're following me and that your notifications are turned on so that you're notified for the next time I go live. But other than that, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.